All right, days 4 and 5 are officially a wrap on the diet. A couple of slip-ups, but hey, that's okay because we're human and we have slip-ups. And that's just bound to happen at some point. I have a thing where I have a baby, as most of you are aware, 7 months old and just began teething just a few days ago. What that means is he doesn't want to sleep, and we're in Florida, so thankfully it's really nice weather and we have the ability to put him in the stroller and just kind of walk him, or I just carry him down the street, but I swear I've been getting about 12 to 15,000 steps in a day, just carrying him around, trying to get him to calm down, trying to get him to go to sleep. And the thing about that is, because the stress levels are so high, I'm missing my meals. And it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because as long as the baby's good, the wife's good, hey, everything's good. But you make bad decisions when you're hungry. And, I'm still maintaining the meal plan, which is, like you said in the last episode, I've essentially been eating the exact same thing, 3 times a day. And I can do that. Like I said, I spent about a decade only eating chicken and rice at one point. But I ran to the gas station after not eating for about 24 hours. And I saw a couple of Zingers, which if you don't know what they are, that's what they are. They're incredibly unhealthy, incredibly ultra processed sweet stuff. And I ate them. And I felt guilty. I felt bad. I beat myself up a bit, even though I was in a serious caloric deficit. So it doesn't really matter. But guilt when you mess up, that's what I want to talk about today. You're going to err, because to err is to be human, and we're all human, most of us, unless you're some kind of skin suit who works in DC. But the thing is, you have to be kind to yourself. Of course, you're always going to have that moment where you kind of kick yourself. I wish I didn't do that. But that's not something that you should do for so long. If you had a friend, if you had a family member who was on a diet and they messed up, what would you say? Would you shame them? I don't think so. I think in general, most people are quite empathetic and we understand that people err. But for some reason, we hold ourselves to a much higher standard than we would other. And in many facets of life, that's an important thing to do. But on a diet isn't easy, especially in a place like America, where you don't have much time to do things, and the availability of ultra-processed, unhealthy foods is absolutely everywhere, right? So you're gonna mess up sometimes. Sometimes you mess up on purpose. That's fine too. Sometimes you want a cheat day, a few cheat days. That's fine. Because like I said, this is about the marathon, a 100-day challenge. We've maintained our caloric deficit for going on 6 days now. We're doing well. I'm starting to feel a lot lighter. I feel a bit healthier. I feel weaker, that's for sure, because I don't have the calories the body's turning in on itself. But, the headaches, the anxiety from the lack of sugar, that's gone. And you know what? And I have to forgive myself. And like I said, you should forgive yourself too, because at the end of the day, is it really a big deal? Even if you have a bit of a freak out, you go to Burger King, get a double Whopper with bacon, which is gross and give me heartburn. But even if you do something like that, at the end of the day, it's not a big deal. The next day is a new day. Maybe walk a little bit more or not. It doesn't really matter. Just don't be too hard on yourself, because if you make yourself miserable, you're only going to jeopardize your purpose. You're only going to jeopardize the mission. And the mission is kind of everything, like we've been talking about. Because this is about becoming a better you, becoming a better us. And if you treat yourself well, if you treat yourself with empathy, if you're forgiving to yourself, if you're kind to yourself, what you're going to notice is that you find yourself being more compassionate to others. You understand others more. And this is one of the best things about going through a time of hardship, even if it's one that you're doing to yourself, is that it really does widen one's ability to perceive struggle in other people and to be a better person, a more supporting person. Because I do believe in that. I do believe that we need to be much more supporting and helpful and caring about each other. Getting coffee, ladies and gentlemen. And it doesn't need to be overstated. All right, I don't need to go on and on about it, because it's It's that simple, really. Be kind to yourself. Be forgiving. You know, if you mess up, if you eat something you shouldn't have, maybe you're like, this would be a little bit better with butter, and you put a little butter on it and it throws off your calorie count. Hey, it is what it is. You know, you're still here, you're still trying, and at the end of the day, that's what matters. Maybe you don't want to count that day. If you messed up on day 4 or day 5, hey, the next day can be day 4 or day 5. You know, there's no rules to this. You're doing it by yourself. And like I said, as long as you're honest with yourself and as long as you're being kind and forgiving to yourself, then you're going to see your way through it. You're going to be fine. And if you have any problems with something like that, you know, go ahead and put it in the comment section. Let's talk about it a little bit. As far as on the home front goes, Florida's lovely. We want to do some more traveling. The holidays are here, which make that a little bit more difficult. If you don't know about our situation, I moved back to America a year ago after getting married to my wife, who's Turkish, and we've had a child since then here in America. And the immigration process in America is quite exhausting, but essentially she has her green card, but she can only leave the United States for 6 months out of the year. And we're not winter people, so we're trying to focus that so we can actually miss the colder months and then spend those in warmer areas. So there's a good chance we're just going to go back to Greece. It's a place that I've lived at. It's a place that I've loved my entire life. I love the history, the people, the food, the walking culture. In America, it's very different. You have to drive everywhere. It's very inconvenient. There's a lot of local restaurants, family-owned restaurants. In America, it's mostly just kind of corporate slop. You know, everything's a franchise. You don't get any kind of originality. And when you do go to a mom and pop place, for some reason, it's just not always so good. And mostly that's the quality of the ingredients that we get here in America just aren't very good, if we're being completely honest. But we're kind of coming to the point now where we're deciding, you know, when we're going to leave. So we got to go through the visa process again, which can be a bit of a pain, but in the end, it's a pain that's worth it. And I am excited, especially because within that 100 days of this challenge, we will be outside the United States. So it's going to be great to be able to show you guys kind of a comparison of just, you know, what the markets are like, what local food's like, and how it's so much easier to be healthy outside the United States. Like I said, my other channel originally was based on travel. It's just completely become something else. But that's originally what that channel was about. So it's nice to kind of give it a bit of a rebirth on this channel as well. But when we came back to America, we actually, I was offered a job in Ohio, so we moved there. But we have relocated temporarily down here to Florida because Ohio is incredibly cold during the wintertime. We both almost lost our minds last winter. So it's been nice, although it's been raining the past couple of days, and as you can see, it's quite muggy today. So no walking around with the kids, so a lot of pacing in the house. But we had our meal this morning. The same thing, kind of, you know, tomatoes, onions, garlic, beef with 2 eggs. Because I was kind of carb heavy yesterday, I kind of toned that down today. And you're like, well, all you eat is lavash. But yeah, I understand, but we cut that out anyway. Logan's here. You may not notice because usually he's with me in every video we make. Whether it's on this channel or the other channel, he's usually just sleeping behind me. But I take him everywhere. Like I take him into stores with me. No one ever says anything because he's small. But he doesn't mind the gloomy days. He doesn't. But he's a bit of a beach dog. And he was actually born in Florida because my wife used to live here before she moved to Greece to work. But that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Days 4 and 5 are on a wrap. We're on day 6 right now. For exercise, we pretty much just been walking nonstop with the baby. So it's kind of like a loaded march. Kind of like a very slow-paced ruck march in the military. He's about 26 pounds now. So carrying him up on one arm all day really does kind of remind me of walking around with my 240. It feels like he's about the same weight at this point. But if you have any questions, concerns, let me know how you guys are doing on the diet right now. If you are joining us, let us know some stories and maybe comebacks. I know a lot of you have dropped weight in the past. Some of you have stayed there. Some of you have bounced back up and gained it again. Bound to happen. Hey, I've done a lot of yo-yoing with my weight in my life, but tell us your story, give us some advice, and let us know how things are going over in your world right now. But thanks for stopping by. As always, like and subscribe. We love you guys here, and stay warm, stay safe. Have a good one.